Good. Alright, so I think we are live. Okay, this is my first time doing this, so I'll see how this goes. Usually I just tweet updates, but figured I'd give this live coverage a try and see how it goes. So basically what we got going on right now, we have a tornado warning for Renville and Kandiyohi counties until 8:45. There was a confirmed tornado spotted over Princeburg, southwest of Wilmer. So that's the situation there. So anybody in the polygon here should be seeking shelter. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning up towards Wilmer. I'll cover that one a little bit later, but the more serious storm right now is southwest of Wilmer. Here's the storm by Walker. This one's mostly a hail producer. That's being warned for 1.5 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. I'll switch back over to the Wilmer storm here. Switch to the Minneapolis radar. Zoom in on that. Actually, I'm going to switch over to Sioux Falls. I think it's got a little bit better look on it from velocity. So you can see, yeah, there's a little bit, radar isn't really picking it up that great, but you can kind of see the reds and greens kind of coming together, intertwining a little bit. Yeah, not the strongest signature, but yeah, there was a tornado spotted there. I believe there might be, let me see if there's any media out there on this particular storm. Yep, it looks like as a matter of fact there is. Here is. Why is that not showing up? Okay, why isn't that working? Bear with me 1 minute. Why is that not coming up? What is going on? I don't know why that's not working. Let's see if I can share it somehow. Gotta love technology. It works when it wants to. So here it is, basically. I'll stretch this out so you can see it. Yeah, so Jordan L here had a screenshot of the tornado over Pittsburgh. So there's visual confirmation there of it. Switch back over to the radar here. Still a little bit of broad rotation going on there. By the way, if you're not aware, there's a severe thunderstorm watch for northern Minnesota till 11 o'clock. Then there's a tornado watch for southern half of the state until midnight. So that's the situation there. Obviously, the most serious storm right now is southwest of Wilmer, where there's a confirmed tornado on the ground. We'll keep an eye on this to see what happens there. Check to see if there's any more updates on this. Nothing new from what I'm seeing. So for the moment, we'll just assume the tornado's still on the ground. So anybody along Highway 7 basically should be in their basements or on the lowest level of their home. This will pretty much move, right along the Highway 7 corridor. So Roseland's next in line, Bloomkist, eventually Lake Lillian, and then if it holds together, it'll be Cosmos, Corvoso, Cedar Mills, and Meeker County. It's pretty much moving easterly at the moment. I'm going to switch over to Minneapolis to see if this can pick it up a little bit better. Still not the greatest. Yeah, the radar coverage is a little bit dicey. The further you get out here, it's kind of in between Sioux Falls and Minneapolis. Both radars aren't really picking up the rotation too well. Let's see if we can switch over to see if any of the correlation coefficient dual pol is picking up anything. Yeah, it's not really telling me anything there. Let me see if Sioux Falls is gonna show anything better on this. Yeah, not really. So that's why we kind of rely on spotter reports, because sometimes radar doesn't pick up everything the best. So as you get further out, the radar beam gets higher up, so you're only seeing the upper half of the storm unit, and the radar isn't really picking up what's happening towards the surface. So that's why we have spotters and chasers to help confirm what's happening on the ground. Just going to zoom in a little bit on the velocity and see what's going on here. Yeah, still, if there's anything happening, it's probably, I would say, in this vicinity here, maybe just southern part of Princeburg. We're seeing some of the brighter oranges here and the reds on the gate-to-gate shear. Yeah, it isn't really picking up that well, but we'll just keep watching it here to see what happens. Let's see. Check to see if there's any other media to share on this. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Tyler Olson also had a picture of the tornado near Princeburg, so there's a photo of that. Not much for other live updates or reports, storm reports. Not seeing too much out there. Yep, the Weather Service is continuing the tornado warning till 8:45. They still believe the storm's capable of producing a tornado, and the storm's still over Princeburg. And it's moving east about 20 miles an hour, so yeah, it's taking its time. We can take a look at some of the times here. I'll draw out the storm track. We'll take it out from Princeburg, basically right along 7. Let's see what we got for times here. Yeah, it's basically just Roseland and Bloomquist are in the path of the storm. Roseland at 8:31 and Bloomquist at 8:43. So yeah, fortunately it's not hitting real populated areas, but unfortunately there are a couple towns impacted anyway. Switch back over to reflectivity here. Let's see if there's any signs of hail. Yeah, it looks like if there's any hail, it's any large hail, it's going to be on the north side of Princeburg. Some of the darker colors here. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning just coming in for McLeod, Renville, and Sibley. So it's a little bit further, let's see, to the east here. For this cell here, there's a warning that just popped out for it. Radar Omega hasn't drawn the polygon yet, but you can kind of see it on the inset here on the radar, where the polygon is. It should be up here in a minute. Basically, it's being warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail with this storm. There are some signs that could produce a tornado. Looks like maybe the best rotation is west of Highway 4 here. If anything was going to happen, it'd be right in this area. I don't see any towns in the path, so that's a good sign. So it'd be south of Hector on 212. Yeah, north of Fairfax. Basically right between those two towns there. Switch back over to our tornado warned storm. Looks like it's trying to develop a little bit further southwest. So this area will need to be watched. Also, yeah, the north side of the cell looks like it's got some hail associated with it, and there is a little bit of rotation going on north of Roseland here. That's something else to watch for possible tornado development. Let's see if we still got anything off to the north here. Load up the Duluth radar to see what's going on with our Cass County storm. As you can see, the cells moved on from Walker, east of Walker. Let me see if there's any updates with this one. Looks like still being warned for 1.5 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. There is possible tornado potential with it, something the Weather Service in Duluth is watching closely on it. So we'll see if there's yeah, actually there is some pretty good rotation. Looks like it's right over Leech Lake as well. So anybody that's boarding on Leech Lake, you want to get off. Pretty much 5 minutes ago you had to be off the lake. So if you're on the lake, or if you know somebody that's on the lake, let them know that they should be off right away. So yeah, you could end up having a potential water spout over Leech Lake here. So yeah, it's something to watch. Got a new scan in. Looks like the rotation isn't quite as tight, but something to watch right in this area for potential water spout and tornado coming on shore there in the southern shore of Leech Lake there, coming into Whipholt and Breivik on the south shore of Leech Lake there. So we'll move back onto a tornado warned storm. I'll switch over to Minneapolis. Okay, what do we got here? Switch over velocity. Yeah, nothing. Let me switch over. Yeah, it's not really showing me anything. Let me switch over to Sioux Falls to see if we can pick this up better. Let's see. Maybe here or even here would be your areas of rotation with the storm. Let me check the web to see if there's any storm reports with this, any updates, pictures. Yeah, not seeing anything out there. Well, there's a storm chaser that has a possible tornado near Broden. Looks like maybe a funnel cloud. That's what Michael Mars is showing. So you can see, looks like there's some sort of lowering there. Maybe a possible tornado near Broughton. So we'll take a look at the radar there on that storm. And for that, we'll switch over to yeah, it's one of those radar holes. I'll switch over to Minneapolis to see what it's... Yeah, Minneapolis isn't really picking up that one well at all. Let's try Aberdeen maybe. There's a private company in Lexington, Kentucky that's going to be filling in some of the radar gaps over the next 5 years, so that's going to help out a lot with radar coverage. It's kind of a joint venture between this private company and the Weather Service. let's see if, I don't know think Fargo, Grand Forks is going to pick up on this really well either. Yeah, it's not. So I think we'll just keep it at Minneapolis for now, since we're kind of focusing on these two storms that are coming towards the metro here too. Yeah, pretty intense hail core looks like just north, or I guess between a little bit north of Highway 7, I guess I'd call it. Near Big Kaniohai Lake here on the southwest side of the lake. County Road 44. Yeah, again, the Minneapolis radar isn't doing well on the velocity, so I might have to switch to Sioux Falls on that. Yeah, it's not looking super impressive on radar. Let's see if... Try another source here to see if maybe I can get some better resolution on the storm. Let's see. This isn't working real well here for them at the moment. Yeah, neither Minneapolis or Sioux Falls is picking up this storm really well on radar for velocity, so I think we're just gonna have to be dependent on what's coming through social media on this one. Yeah, there's some other development here to the north with the possible, there was some sort of funnel cloud or possible tornado here around Broden at 8:02. Storm doesn't look too impressive though right now on radar, but I'll switch over to Minneapolis on this one. You can kind of see the little appendages here. It's something to watch too. The little hooks. So each one of these are capable of producing a tornado at some point. Yeah, this storm along Highway 7 though still looks pretty impressive. You can kind of see it's hooking a little bit. But yeah, this area up here definitely needs to be watched for supercell, even tornado development. It's kind of got the look on radar that it could produce tonight, so we'll keep an eye on this too. Looks like this storm coming up towards 212 is looking a little bit more impressive too. Let's see if there's any updates on this. No new updates on this. This tornado warning. Oh, and the Weather Service just dropped a chunk of this western portion of the tornado watch, basically from where, basically west of where these storms are, have been dropped. So that's good news for anybody. Montevideo, Granite Falls, Marshall, you folks are all out of the tornado watch now and pretty much can sleep tight knowing that storms won't be affecting your areas for the rest of the evening here. So we'll take a look back at these storms here. West of the metro, let's see what the storm relative velocity is showing. Yeah, there might be some trying to go here north of Fairfax along Minnesota 4 and north of County Road 2 in Renville County. And then, yeah, there might be a possible tornado here coming into Bloomcast. Something to keep our eye on. Basically, Minnesota 7 and US 71, that area needs to be watched. Probably, if there is something, it'd probably be just south of town or south side of Bloomcast there. Yeah, other than the one tornado report by Princebury, I haven't seen any other storm reports come through. It's been quiet for the most part as of right now. Yeah, not seeing any updates here. Yeah, I'll go back up to the storm east of Walker here. This one looks pretty decent on radar for hail with this one. Yeah, there's probably some sizable hail southeast side of Leech Lake there. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least quarter to golf ball size hail going on with that storm there. Then it looks like another storm here putting down hail southwest of Marcel. That one's not warned right now, but it's one I'd definitely watch and take seriously if you're up in this neck of the woods. We'll scoop back down here to the south side. Yeah, this one, how it kind of backs here, it's still an impressive looking storm. Let's see if there's anything new on this. No, I'm not seeing anything, so... Yeah, so for now we got the tornado warning for Renville, Kenny Yohai until... I forget what this one was issued until... That one's till 8:45. And then we have this warning here for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is valid until 9:15. So 2 storms here west of the cities we're watching. And then this storm east of Leech Lake needs to be monitored as well. There's actually some pretty decent rotation just east of Leech Lake now. That's something got to be monitored for possible tornadoes southwest of Boy River here. That's... Yeah, that's actually a pretty good cell. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't at least a water spout, if not a brief spin up or something even may still even be on the ground. We can take a look at correlation coefficient to see what's going on there. Let's see, what do we got? There is a little bit of a CC drop in there, almost down to a 0.75, which is a pretty good indicator. So there might be something going on right in this area here. Now it looks like the area of rotation's right in this area. Yeah, that's certainly possible. Something could be going on right there. So anybody living in this area should probably be on the lowest floor of their home. Yeah, I'd definitely be seeking shelter there. That's a mean looking storm. If there's definitely some large hail with that, if there isn't a tornado on the ground with that storm. So that's one we should be taking seriously. We'll scroll back down to our storms west of the metro where the 2 warnings are at. Yeah, Minneapolis radar isn't picking up the velocities that well with this. Let's see, it's just switched over to another source. I got another app open for... I got radar scope open. Let me switch over to that quick. There we go. So I have the Sioux Falls radar here on radar scope. So I guess the area they dropped. Okay, they did drop the severe thunderstorm warning for Sibley and I believe it was Sibley, Renville, and McLeod. That was dropped. The only warning west of the cities now is the tornado warning for Renville, and Candy, Ojai. And yeah, there's still very broad rotation, but yeah, the radar isn't picking up any strong rotation, if there is anything that well. I'll switch back over to my main source. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this warning got dropped. Actually, it was just expired, so that warning was dropped. So right now, there's no warnings at the moment issued for storms. Oh wait, there was. Okay, so this just got put out. This must have just got reissued. That disappeared, now it reappeared. Okay, so this is in effect till 9:15 for Renville, Sibley, and McLeod counties. It's being warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, and it's tagged as a tornado possible as well. So nothing imminent right now for tornado potential, but just being warned for winds and hail. Let's see what's going on with our Candy, Ojai County storm. Yeah, this live stream is a little bit more, it's not as easy a transition, I guess, as I thought it would be, versus just tweeting live updates. So it's a little bit more involved. I feel like I need to be doing something all the time, or silence is a bad thing. So maybe this is my first time doing this, so maybe I just need some practice, or we'll see how it goes. I'll kind of play it by ear to see if it's something I want to keep doing or not, or just going back to tweeting updates. As long as this is adding some sort of value, I'll keep doing it. But yeah, it's a little bit harder than I thought it would be to keep a live stream going on, especially when there isn't a ton of activity going on. There's storms, but not a lot for warnings. I think there's a strong cap out in place across a lot of southern and western Minnesota, and the storms are trying to overcome that, and I think they're just having difficulty getting going. There's this subtle low pressure here that's heading into the western part of the state, kind of the Detroit Lakes, Alexandria area. More of a subtle low, and that's the focal point for some of the tornado potential. But yeah, that just hasn't happened so far, other than the one tornado report by Princeburg this evening in southwestern Candy, Ojai County here. Yeah, these storms here look like something could happen, but they haven't moved a whole lot, and there's no warnings out right now for them. But I mean, they certainly bear watching. They're just struggling with the cap to get real explosive at the moment. But yeah, actually the most impressive storm here is up in northern Minnesota. I would say at the moment that's heading towards the Grand Rapids area. That's east of Leech Lake. I'd say rotation's a little bit more broad than it was a little while ago, whereas a lot tighter here over Leech Lake. It's kind of fallen apart a little bit, but it definitely still bears watching here over Boy River, and it'll eventually move into the Grand Rapids area here. Actually, I'll probably miss, well, yeah, it'll come pretty close to Grand Rapids. Definitely bears a storm track on it. Kind of thinking this is where it'll head. I just need to figure out how fast it's moving at 35, so I just need to factor that in here. So we'll take a look at some of the towns in the path here. So Cohasset 927, yeah, Grand Rapids 935, Coleraine 942, Bovee 947. Some of the towns impacted there. So yeah, if you're in any of these areas, you might want to move indoors, seek shelter. Keep an eye on it to see what the tornado potential is. Right now, rotation's any broad. I wouldn't say that a tornado is imminent at this moment on that particular storm, but definitely bears watching, so we'll keep an eye on it. Oops, take that off. We'll switch back over to Minneapolis on these storms here. Still not much happening. This storm's got a warning on it. To be honest, on radars, doesn't look too impressive. Reflectivity isn't super strong, but it looks like they just issued an update on this storm. Let's take a look to see. This one is being continued for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Yeah, this one doesn't look like it's got too much. It's being tagged as a possible tornado, but right now it doesn't look like a tornado is very imminent on that particular storm. I still think this storm here along Highway 7 bears watching. That's coming into Cosmos. Just with this appendage with the storm, you really have to watch the area right in here for any possible tornado development. Let me just check social here for any new updates. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything with this. Of course, it's getting dark and it's harder for people to share pictures now, so that's part of the trouble we're having with people posting media here. Okay. We'll keep watching to see if any other activity pops up on social media. that people should be aware about. So right now we got 2 warnings here. We've got a storm coming into southwestern Meeker County into the Broughton area. This storm's being warned till, I'm sorry, this is McLeod County. The storm's being warned till 9:15. This one's being warned for 60 mile per hour winds and 1-inch hail. And then we have the storm up here coming into Grand Rapids. That's in place until, if I can switch radars, that storm is in place. It's being warned for 2-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds, and that's in effect till 9:30 p.m. So that's just kind of a reset of what we have going on here across the state. We got our severe thunderstorm watch, which has kind of been trimmed down as the evening's gone on. This is in effect till 11 o'clock. And our tornado watch here to the south, that's in effect till midnight, which has also been trimmed down as the storms have passed. Our front basically is slid. Basically, anybody west of here, you're safe from any storm development for the rest, any severe storm development, I should say. I guess there's still possibility of pop-up storms, but anything that does pop up shouldn't really be too intense and be below severe limits. So right now the primary focus is pretty much from west of Grand Rapids down to Long Prairie, Wilmer, Redwood Falls, and basically east right now. Anybody north of Redwood Falls to Red Wing should be aware of these storms that will be approaching the metro. Since they're not really moving real fast, I think they're moving about 20 miles an hour. It's going to take a while for them to get into the cities here. It's going to be probably 10, 11 o'clock before they even get into town here. Being this Grand Rapids storm is the strongest, I'll kind of focus on this one right now. Yeah, it looks like there's some decent hail just northwest of Reamer. And I'm going to do check. Nextray has the ability to kind of estimate hail sizes. I'm going to turn that on here if I can find the setting I'm looking for quickly. This might not work out so well. I forget where it is in here. Oh, where is it? Yeah, I might have to forgo that. I can't recall where the settings are here. I'm mostly a radar scope user, and I just got Radar Omega. I use Radar Omega occasionally on my phone, and I just downloaded it on my desktop here and kind of getting familiar with it. Just did the basic subscription just so I could get added to my desktop here for live streaming coverage. I do like what Radar Omega has to offer. It's for, at least for the mobile devices, what it provides for free is it's quite a bit more than what you get with Radar Scope. with Radar Omega, you get your SPCL looks. You can look at the airport observations and have that shown right on your display on top of the radar, which is nice. So you can kind of see wind direction and see if fronts have moved through the area. So it's a nice benefit. Also, it shows you storm reports. You don't have to pay extra to get those. That's a nice benefit. And yeah, it'll show you, it'll plot the Weather Prediction Center surface features. So yeah, here it has the low pressure and the stationary front here that's dragged along the Minnesota-Dakota's border. And it looks like we just got a new warning popped up here into Morrison and Todd counties. So we got a severe thunderstorm here that'll come eventually into the Little Falls area. This one's being warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1.25-inch hail. Also has a tornado possible tag with it. I have the Duluth radar up. Let's switch over to Twin Cities. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, that looks pretty impressive actually. So right here, just coming into Swansville, yeah, I think this might even go tornado warn pretty quickly here. This is looking pretty impressive on radar. We'll do a scan history on it. Yeah, it looks like the rotation just kind of popped on it. Now it looks like it's off more to the north of Swanville, but yeah, this is, you definitely want to be in your basement if you're living anywhere kind of in this area. I'd be on the lowest floor. It looks like there's some pretty decent rotation going on with this cell here north of Swanville. So yeah, that's a storm we should be taking seriously here, and people might want to be looking to get to the lowest floor as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's kind of got classic hook. Looks like it's trying to hook back here to the southwest through inflow coming in here. Yeah, as you can see, your inflow is coming in here. Then you got winds coming in from this from that direction. So yeah, this is where your greatest area of rotation is. So we got to keep an eye on that storm. Yeah, this storm coming to McLeod County isn't that impressive looking, I don't think. It's probably for hail, but in terms of tornado potential, there's not a whole lot going on there. Kind of go back up to the Duluth storm. I kind of started on it, and then I sort of went off on a tangent. Yeah, kind of a broad area rotation still with this storm. Right in this area. Right in there. Some we should keep an eye on. Yeah, the rotation's been pretty prevalent with this cell here. As it's gone across Leech Lake. So yeah, people in Grand Rapids and Cohasset, yeah, you definitely want to pay attention to this storm. It definitely could strengthen right back up. It may be in a cyclical pattern here where it weakens briefly and then it'll strengthen up once again. So definitely something you want to keep an eye on. It looks like the Weather Service just canceled the warning for McLeod, Sibley, and Renville here. So yep, that just disappeared. So that storm is not being considered severe anymore. So our main impacts here. So that's telling me that these storms are kind of having a hard time overcoming the cap. So I guess there's still a question as to whether or not the cities will even get severe weather. And as the evening progresses, I think the chances get less and less. You're not really seeing a real explosive increase of these storms. So they may just kind of come in with a whimper to the cities, but we'll still keep an eye on them. But they're not looking too impressive, so I wouldn't, at the moment, I'm not too worried for the Twin Cities proper with these storms, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on them to see what happens. I'll take a look at this storm here in Stearns County. This warning's out till 9:45 for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see. Let me pull up the warning text. This one's for a severe storm over Paynesville. So I'll take a look at this storm here. What the velocity's looking like. Not overly impressive with the velocity scan. So yeah, this is probably going to be a hailer, if anything. Yeah, even the VIL isn't looking too impressive on the storm, which is kind of used as an indicator for hail strength. Maybe some small hail with this, but kind of a marginal, I'd say it's a marginal severe risk with this storm. But something to keep an eye on, of course. There's a warning out for it, so still need to definitely watch it. Yeah, actually, I had the Duluth, didn't realize I had the Duluth radar. I switched over to Minneapolis. Now you can kind of see the rotation a little bit better. Yeah, east of Paynesville here. A broad area rotation. Something to pay attention to if you're south of 23 here, south side of Richmond. Let's see. Check the track of this. Yeah, it looks like the rotation will stay south of 23. So it'll stay south of St. Cloud proper. Let's check out this little fall storm. Yeah, it looks like this is an area to watch. Also, I think this is an area that needs to be watched. So northeast of Swanville, northwest of Flensburg. Let me check real quick for updates. Storm Prediction Center thinks the storms in northern Minnesota will kind of diminish through 10 and 11 o'clock, so not expecting storms to last too much longer across the Arrowhead. Should see a weakening trend here as we get closer to midnight. So that's definitely some good news for residents across the Arrowhead region there. Still got the two warnings here for Morrison. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with that storm. Again, not seeing any actual storm reports, so can't verify whether or not there's severe weather happening with that particular storm. But it is being, the warning is continuing for that particular cell. And then we'll scroll further south here. Oh, looks like they, oh, there it is. Yeah, that's looking, yeah, last scanner, so yeah, it looks like rotation's really starting to pick up here right in the Eden Valley area, just west of town here. Highway 22 and 55 here. Yeah, so if you're in Eden Valley, definitely want to be indoors right now. And, oh yeah, that's starting to look more impressive with each radar scan here. Just northwest of downtown Eden Valley. So folks want to heed the warning here with this storm. There's definitely a possible, it's definitely, rotation's definitely picked up with that. So yeah, that's storm that bears watching. I'll keep the velocity on here for this storm. Yeah, it doesn't look as tight as the storm further south here on this storm that's north of Flensburg. I'm west of Little Falls here. Zoom out just a little bit. It looks like it might miss. It might just scrape I got a bad scan there. It might it might scrape the northwest side of Little Falls in terms of rotation. If anything does spin up out of that. Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, Little Falls proper will probably be a miss on the impact of the storm, so that's good news for them in terms of large hail and tornado potential. But anybody northwest of, just on the northwest side of town of Little Falls, yeah, you definitely want to be watching that. Anybody, yeah, on US 10 here. Anybody driving on the highway, obviously, you might want to let them know that they're going to be running into any weather, or hopefully motorists slow down a little bit or pull off to the road until the hazard passes. So, with that said, we'll move down here to the southern end of our storms and take a look at this storm here south of Cold Spring and Eden Valley. Long day. I was at the fair all day, so not sure how long it'll last. Oh, there we go. We just had a tornado warning pop on it. Storm capable of producing a tornado was near Richmond. So, yeah, they are looking at, there's two areas that need to be looked at here. Just coming into St. Nicholas and then northeast of Eden Valley here is where the possible rotation is. We've got a new scan here that just came in. Yeah, so anywhere along this edge here bears watching. So anybody in the St. Nicholas area, I'd say Eden Valley is probably in the clear for any tornado potential. Let me see who's in the path here. This is moving at 25 miles an hour. Yeah, it's pretty much just St. Nicholas. Fortunately, this is out in a rural area and it really isn't impacting anybody, so that's one plus from this storm here. But yeah, it's definitely showing signs of some pretty good rotation. And this warning's in effect. Actually, it looks like we just got a new warning. Oh, that is our tornado. Okay, so that was our tornado warning that was just issued. And this is in effect until 10 o'clock. Yeah, so anybody in southeastern Stearns County should be heading to the lowest floor right now. This is looking pretty impressive on velocity. Let's take a look at our correlation coefficient to see what we got going on here. Put that into motion just to see what we got. Yeah, correlation coefficient isn't picking up anything. Well, it is to the west of where the area of rotation is. That's, yeah, so the rotation's out ahead of where the parent cell is pretty much. So yeah, this is pretty good rotation here. Maybe on the broader side, but yeah, it looks like it might be trying to tighten up a bit. So yeah, that's looking pretty impressive. Just doing a quick search to see how our northern cell's doing quick before I scroll back down to the south. Yeah, rotation with the storm coming into Grand Rapids and Cohasset isn't too impressive. So that's primarily going to be a hail and wind threat. We'll move back down here to the cities. Oops, we lost our... Pick the tower there. There we go. Little operator error there, but yeah, coming into St. Nicholas, our radar Omega was showing a population of 0, so I'm not sure if there's any folks that actually live there, but if there's anybody on the in town or on the outskirts, definitely want to be taking this storm seriously. It's got some pretty good rotation on it, so you should definitely be indoors and on the lowest floor for that storm. Just checking social media for any updates possibly on this storm. With it coming up to 9:30 now, we've pretty much have lost the dark, or we pretty much have lost the light, so it's hard to get any pictures and video now of storms moving into the area. Yeah, so right now our main focus is for this cell here. Yeah, I'm not saying anything on social media with this yet. So the warning still continues for this cell here, which is located near Richmond, which puts it around St. Nicholas as I'm showing here. It's moving east at 25, and it was about 18 miles southwest of St. Cloud. So I'll put St. Cloud up here, zoom out so we can see in relation to St. Cloud. Yeah, it looks like it's going to stay south of St. Cloud. It's going to move more into probably south of Clearwater, the I-94 stretch here, Hasty, Enfield eventually, probably closer to 10 o'clock or even after that. Probably 10:30, I'm guessing, with for how slow the storm's moving. It's only moving at 25 miles an hour. But yeah, rotation's one of the more impressive looking cells we've seen tonight. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this, see what happens with it. Still severe thunderstorm warning for the Little Falls area. Yeah, it looks like that storm's really kind of fallen apart. I wouldn't be surprised if that warning gets dropped here fairly soon. It's in effect until, I believe this was our 9:30. This is our 9:45 storm, I believe. Yeah, 9:45 storm for Todd County here. Again, it was being warned for 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds. But yep, the main focus here is our tornado warning for Stearns and a little bit of Meeker County here, just the very northern section of Meeker County. Oops. We'll do a side-by-side here. It's one nice benefit that I have access to here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So here's the reflectivity on the left, our velocity on the right. Rotation's still pretty decent on this storm. Definitely worth taking seriously. Might actually be some decent outflow winds here, right along the just north of 55 here in the Meeker Stearns County line. Twin Cities Weather Service continues a tornado warning for Meeker and Stearns until 10 o'clock. They indicated a tornado or thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Watkins. So, yeah, they're looking at this area right here. Greatest area of concern is right in this northwest of Watkins here. Let's switch over to the correlation coefficient here just to see if there might be something going on here. There isn't a real clear indicator though with the correlation coefficient. Not seeing a big CC drop. When you see a big CC drop, you see more of the darker colors here, and you see the number go down to about 0.75 or so. That's a pretty substantial CC drop. So I'm guessing, if I had to guess, there isn't anything on the ground, but still want to watch the storm pretty closely. Switch back over to reflectivity here in the left panel. I'll do another storm track on it too, just to, let's do it. I didn't like how that turned out. Let's do it from about right there. Storms indicated moving at 20. Why didn't it pop up? What happened? Sometimes technology Just doesn't work the way you want it to. There we go. So it's going to impact Clearwater 1016, Silver Creek 1026, Monticello 1053, Big Lake 11 o'clock. Just picking out some of the larger towns there. So yeah, it's going to take till 11 o'clock before the storm even gets to the I-94 corridor. I'm guessing by then these storms are going to lose a little bit of intensity as the instability decreases a bit. I'll probably stay live with these storms till about 10 o'clock and then drop off. Looks like, yeah, overall these storms are just having a hard time getting going, so I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of storm activity other than the cell south of St. Cloud. Even this Grand Rapids storm isn't warned anymore. That's just generic. That's just a garden variety thunderstorm now. But still definitely capable of some small hail. Yeah, just west of Grand Rapids there. But it looks like there's definitely a decrease in trend in intensity with that storm. So I think folks up there will be able to rest a little bit easier. Shift our focus here a little bit further south. Pick up the storm here south of St. Cloud. Switch our radar here over to Chanhassen. Seeing this too. This might be a sign that we could be getting some strengthening action going. Area rotation looks pretty broad right now. Yeah, nothing I'd be too immediately concerned with at the moment. Kind of keep watch. We'll keep watching the next couple scans here to see what happens with it. But yeah, it wasn't looking as impressive as it was further west here. Yeah, kind of we're over the Eden Valley areas where it exhibited some of the strongest rotation, but you can kind of see that the rotation's really fallen off as the cells move through Stearns County there. Yep, the warning for the Little Falls area, as I thought it would, was dropped. So Little Falls residents, you don't have to worry about that storm anymore. That's pretty much decreased to just regular showers and thunderstorms. So it looks like the definite storms are definitely winding down a bit, but we still have most impressive storms right now is in the Stearns County area and extending back into Meeker County here. north of Litchfield. Definitely want to watch this appendage here for development. The storm still, the Weather Service continued the storm until 10 o'clock. Thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is near Kimball. So right here along Highway 15. Yeah, I'd say the area of greatest concerns right in here, so north of Kimball proper. But I would still watch some of these areas on the front side of this cell here. It looks like it might be trying to go linear eventually. On the front edge of this cell could have some quick spin up tornadoes. Kind of where here and here, sort of where you see the notches here in the reflectivity. Yeah, it's not super impressive looking. I think it kind of looks like it's going to evolve more into a wind event. Looks like we have winds approaching, getting towards severe status, with the radars estimating the winds up here in the upper, let's see, how far, the beam is probably cutting through, well, it probably still is capturing the lower quarter of the storm. We're not too far away from it. So the storm could be putting down 55 to 60 mile per hour winds in the Watkins area if the winds mix all the way down to the surface. What the radar is doing is just looking at the slice of the storm at this elevation. It's not quite looking at the winds at the surface, so it's not going to give you the true surface-based winds, but it kind of gives you an idea of if winds were to theoretically mix on the surface, what you'd get out of the storm. Let's see what else we got going on with the storm on social media, if anybody has any reports. Yeah, it looks, not seeing any reports. Just seeing a lot of people posting radar screen grabs and stuff, so guess that's one plus. You haven't really seen a lot of storm reports at all from these storms, so that's kind of telling me that they're a little bit on the weaker side and just having a hard time getting going. So the tornado potential is probably diminishing as by the moment, I would say. Once we get towards, I think, 10 or 11 o'clock, I think it'll pretty much be gone. Once these storms get out towards 94, I think the tornado potential is pretty much going to be gone, and we're just going to be looking at winds and hail. Yeah, storms just aren't sustaining themselves too well. It's kind of funny, there was a lot of chatter that today would actually be a bigger day than yesterday, but right this moment I would say yesterday was a bigger deal than today. And actually looking at the model data Friday night, I thought Saturday really did have a chance to overachieve. If people saw my stuff on Twitter, I thought just kind of with the way that everything was set up, that severe weather was definitely a possibility, and that's what we had happen. There were, I think, 4 or 5 tornado reports across the southeast suburbs, and then there was one tornado report in the St. Paul area. So yeah, it got pretty active towards dark, and then we had the chaos at the state fairgrounds last night with the flooding, which was kind of disappointing with how the officials at the state fair kind of treated that whole situation. I kind of felt like everybody was caught off guard with that, and nobody should be standing under trees with lightning and treading through knee-deep water. They should have been herding visitors into buildings as much as possible and filling the spaces where they can, because buses weren't ready to take visitors away. It was just, nobody was really ready for it. And I think there was some downplaying of the situation yesterday as well too. I didn't think a lot of people thought that the storms would live up to their potential, and they definitely did overachieve. So it's unfortunately one of those things that people just weren't ready for. So I guess when you're at a big event like that, whether it's a fair and you're outside, just pay attention to your warnings. Make sure you have a way to receive them. If you know people that are at these outdoor venues, make sure they have a way to receive warnings. Be texting them, giving them updates as much as possible, and just keeping them informed as much as you can, because you can't rely on others to take care of you. Everybody's kind of dependent on their own safety. So just kind of, sorry, just went on a little tangent there, but everybody's just kind of responsible for their own safety there. So anybody at the fair tonight, I think you're going to be okay. By the time if this even holds up, it's going to be late towards fair closing time. So I don't think we're going to have the same issue we had last night. So we're going to be okay, I think. So kind of watching this storm here, Stearns County, rotation again, not looking too impressive like it did earlier over Eden Valley. Looks like they did put kind of a broad severe thunderstorm warning out for the cell, for Stearns and Wright, and Sherburne as well, for 1 1/4 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This one's in effect until 10:30. So if there's any stronger hail with this storm, it'd be, just north of Kimball here. And these storms are moving pretty much to the east. Maybe some southeast trend to it. see, these are moving about 30 or so, so we'll put a storm track on it. So yeah, Silver Creek, 10:13 roughly when these storms will be in town. Becker, 10:23. Some of the towns impacted there, and timing on when they'll arrive at your location. The tornado warning was just dropped for Stearns. The graphic hasn't updated here, but it should shortly. So we're just looking at a hail and wind producer. Yeah, your strongest winds here are going to be in the Watkins area. So if there's anything on the severe side, it's going to be there. Oops. Yeah, we're probably looking at winds close to 60 if they were to be seen at the surface. It's capable of 60-mile-per-hour winds or so. So yeah, it looks like the tornado threat's kind of diminishing here by the minute. No tornado warnings at all. Just the one severe thunderstorm warning here for Stearns, Sherburne, and Wright until 10:30. Yeah, again, I'm not seeing any storm reports with this. So yeah, that's one benefit of tonight's storms. You're not seeing a lot of damage. So that's a plus. Not like last night's storms, where there were a lot of trees down in the St. Paul area, and then across Egan down to Burnsville, where the National Weather Service confirmed the tornado touchdowns when they did their surveys today. Yeah, being that I was at the Farrell Dam, kind of tired too, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. I'll probably make it till 10 o'clock. Being that it seems like there's a decreased trend to the intensity of these storms, I don't think I'm going to stay on real late. Had this been a more widespread severe weather outbreak, I probably would be sticking around longer, but I'm pretty beat right now. Yeah, being there aren't really a ton of reports coming in either. It's yeah, it makes it harder to do a live stream the information trickling in is pretty slow. Plus, after sunset, people aren't able to really see any damage if there is any, so that makes it tough for storm reports to trickle through. So if anything, this was a good practice round for me too, just to get used to how this live streaming works. It's tough when you have a camera and microphone in front of you to do live updates like this. Yeah, it is. It's not as easy as it looks. And I really don't have a team working for me either. It's just me. I don't have anybody chasing for me with my logo wrapped around any vehicles or anything like that. So it's a little bit different from some other live weather streamers out there. So I try to keep it more authentic and real, and I'm not sponsored. I don't make any money off doing this. I'm just giving my time basically. So I'm a big time weather enthusiast. I've been following weather for 35 years. Been chasing for on and off since 2009 or 2008. Became a trained spotter in 2009. I know it seems like the weather's been kind of slow the last decade or so. I know it's kind of more cyclical pattern. I think it's just more coincidence than anything. But that part makes it kind of tougher to stay in the hobby too. And you don't have a lot of action going on. You just kind of get bored with it a little bit, I guess. And you're kind of doing more reading and historical analysis of past storms. Yeah, rotation on the storm is really falling off. There's nothing I'd even be worried about here. Kind of looks like these cells are just going to gel together and go linear. So it's kind of looking like what's going to happen. Yeah. This will probably end up going linear. Probably over the northern metro. It kind of looks like it's kind of moving more northeast. So I think anybody in Scott and Dakota County aren't going to really see it much, if anything, out of these storms. So I think once this line passes, there isn't going to be a whole lot going on. It looks like scrolling up to the north here that the Weather Service in Duluth reissued the warning for the storm we'd been watching in the Grand Rapids area. It looks like it sort of pulsated from a weak to a more intense storm now. This storm is being warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And this is in effect until 10:30 tonight. So same time as the storms northwest of the metro there. We can scroll in just if we got anybody watching from this area. I thought rotation looked pretty meager. Yeah, it's pretty broad. Nothing I'd be too concerned with there. What was I going to look at? Yeah. VIL, there might be some decent hail along Highway 2 southeast of Grand Rapids towards Blackberry here. Yeah, it looks like the hail core is even shrunk a little bit. Yeah, it's really, as it was passing south of Grand Rapids, looks like there may have been some sizable hail with that storm, but it looks like it's weakened somewhat. But looks like it's definitely still capable of producing at least severe size hail at 1 inch. Come back down here to the Twin Cities and take a look at what's going on here. Yeah, again, it's kind of just morphing into a kind of a big rainmaker. I think that might actually just ultimately be the biggest threat from these storms is the heavy rains. Looks like the severe threat's gonna diminish here, probably completely by 11 o'clock. I'd say. I think this tornado warning or tornado watch is gonna be canceled before the midnight expiration on it, if I had to guess. Yeah, I think the cap just went out with today's storms. I think the potential was here today for at least more than isolated outbreak had a strong cap not been in place. If the storms were able to not have that to work with, yeah, it would have been a more impressive storm day for sure. Let's see. The Weather Service is watching Carver County here for nickel-size hail, so that's kind of the immediate impact to the metro. We got the cells up here that are going to be coming into Wright County. Warning still out for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Weather Service is still continuing the warning on that storm till 10:30. Yeah, being I'm not seeing a lot of storm reports out of these cells, I think I'm probably going to sign off here in a couple minutes. There's not a whole lot to show and tell, unfortunately, with these. I think the cells are definitely showing a weakening trend to them. I don't think this is going to be anything too serious here much longer, to be honest. So yeah, just to recap, This warning here for Sherburne, Stearns, and Wright is in effect until 10:30. And then our northern storm here for Grand Rapids and Hemming is in effect until 10:30, and this is for Itasca and St. Louis counties. So I just want to thank everybody for joining me. I guess this is the pilot episode, I guess you could call it, of the live stream here of the severe weather coverage, and appreciate you joining me tonight. And yeah, maybe I'll do this again. I'm not sure. It was really kind of a awkward evening, being that these storms didn't really reach their full potential. I mean, we had the one tornado by Princeburg, but other than that, there wasn't a ton of reports coming out with these storms. But anyway, just want to thank everybody for joining me tonight, and have a good night. Thanks a lot.